How's it going, everybody? C-RadTV back here in another video, and of course it's time for another Detroit Lions 2025 NFL Draft Preview. So in the last draft preview, we took a look at the top tight end prospects for rounds 4 through 7 of the 2025 NFL Draft. And in this draft preview, we're going to wrap up the offensive draft side of the draft previews for the 2025 draft class. And we're going to wrap up the offensive lineman prospect pool for rounds 4 through 7 of the 2025 NFL Draft. Because O-line is something, like I've already mentioned, O-line is something the Lions are going to have to start retooling in the future, with Glasgow on a contract year, plus rumors about Ragnow and Decker retiring in that coming year or so. So O-line is going to be crucial to be going into a retooling. Even though we do got some anchors in there like Christian Mahogany and Penei Sewell to anchor the line. Still, gonna need more than that to anchor the O-line. So we're gonna take a look at some O-line prospects for rounds 4 through 7 on day 3 and see who the Lions should keep an eye on. And keep in mind, the Lions did get Christian Mahogany in the 7th round last year, and he's been looking pretty solid in that rookie year of his. So maybe there's some hope here in this round. So let's go. So, starting off with tackles, the first one we're gonna go over here. Hailing out of Wisconsin, standing 6'7", weighing 311 pounds, we got Jack Nelson. So for Jack's strengths, high intangibles, few concerns to his overall profile as a player. Experience early in his career as a guard will make some teams want to label him as a two-position player despite his height. Huge frame, takes up a lot of space, gives him a wide barrier to work with in pass protection. Ability to find leverage, play underneath defenders, stunning for his height. Able to easily mirror most pass rushes around the edge, rarely gets overtaken by speed. Makes the most of its length, plays for a reliable extension. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he has some clunkiness in his pass sets, will worry teams with his weight distribution in his lower half. He gets caught bending at the waist, overextending his upper body to sustain blocks. Recovery speed's limited due to how far he leans into contact. He'll have more problems as a pro with his hands, feet work out of sync. Development hasn't gone forward much over the last 2 years. Could worry teams about how much he has left to grow. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Max Mitchell to New York Jets. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Jack's game. Very big, very good size, and some versatility. I think someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Connecticut, standing 6'7", weighing 305 pounds, we got Chase Lunt. So for Chase, the strengths, glides around and working laterally, mirroring what pass rushers give him. Combination of body control, hand usage, footwork, NFL ready. Able to swing his hips around, hit reach blocks without losing balance. Showed out in his matchup against Maryland, held his own against high-level competition throughout his career if you want to watch some tape there. Transitions against stunts are crisp, controlled, rarely taken off guard by what defenses present. He's also been listed as one of the top sleeper picks in this draft class because he has good athleticism and size, should move up after a solid combine. He can't coast out on athleticism while getting the technical part down. In terms of his weaknesses, though, likely a bit too tall, lean for seeing any time at guard at the NFL level. Hands get a bit too lax later in games. He'll allow some breakthroughs around the corner. Finesse blocker, lacks a physical edge to his game. Was out-muscled too easily at times. Could have big issues with power as a rookie. Somewhat thin through his lower body. It can be knocked around because of it. Able to sustain his angles despite the space. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's compared to Ben Bartch of the San Francisco 49ers. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Chase's game. Great height, but, might be just limited to tackle. But, hey, maybe still someone to keep an eye on. So, the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Oregon, standing 6'5", weighing 315 pounds. He got Ajani Cornelius. So, for Ajani's strengths, great length for the position, 34+ inch arms, good play strength as anchor, his upper body. Excellent grip strength and pass protection. Hands are heavy, delivers strong punches. Good athlete for his size with explosiveness and speed. Sets a hard edge in the run game. Mauler in the run game. Generates good push. Hand placement has shown improvement. Has a clean injury history. In terms of his weaknesses, though, stiff hips, heavy feet, percent challenges in pass protection. Struggles to mirror defenders. Often allows free rushers. May need to transition to guard in the NFL. Hands are inactive and does a poor job hand fighting. Poor pad level leverage, has difficult recovering when caught out of position. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Ferdarian Lowe of the New England Patriots. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Johnny's game, and hey, maybe there's some potential with him at guard. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Iowa State, standing 6'7", weighing 340 pounds, we got Jalen Travis. So for Jalen's strengths, he knows exactly where he's supposed to be and which defenders are meant to be blocked at the moment. He uses good lateral movement to shift from block to block, even climb the ladder in the run game. Puts his hand in the opponent's chest effectively, has polished upper body technique. Quick off the snap, doesn't bite on head fakes. Turns his feet well, and is consistently moving. Turns the weaknesses though, needs time in the weight room and better efficiency converting his movement skills into power generation. He's able to stop movement of opposing defenders, but isn't able to generate push on his own. Arms and legs not always on the same page. Very tall, but a little stubby. Underwhelming arm length estimates around 33 to 34 inches. Often seen standing in place instead of driving forward. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's compared to Trey Pipkins of the Los Angeles Chargers. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game. Does a lot of things right. It has some good strength. Has good movement and technique. Someone I think to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Boston College, standing 6'8", weighing 314 pounds. We got Ozzy Traplilo. So for Ozzy, strengths aggressive when he gets defenders on the back foot and pursue finishes. Good awareness as a combo blocker, can find targets on the second level. Has the baseline size, length, quickness, can make it on the draft boards. Straight line closing speed gets him where he needs to go downfield. Footwork's relatively polished. He's quick to adjust his angles and pass protection. In terms of his weaknesses, though, short arms relative to the rest of the frame. Limits his range as a blocker. Tackle-only prospect. Lacks the leverage or mass to play the interior. Lack of versatility could ultimately keep him locked on the practice squad early. Upright frame, lack of knee bend leads to slip and an inability to reset his base against power. Hand speed doesn't match up with his foot speed. Energy, effort aren't traits that he can hang his hat on as a blocker. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's compared to Luke Tenuta of the Arizona Cardinals. Overall, there are a lot of things that like out of his game. Very aggressive. So I think someone to keep an eye on for sure for depth. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Alabama A&M, standing 6'6", weighing 305 pounds. We got Carson Vincent. So for Carson's strengths, great arm length, height, good functional movement with quick feet in his pass sets, explosive first step when he run blocks and engage defenders, flashes effective mirroring hand placement, has a mean streak, puts good effort in sustaining blocks, strong with good pop in his hands, great anchor. In terms of his weaknesses, he leads often, plays with poor leverage, awkward mover that often loses balance, mirroring hand placement, need more consistency, could use more activity in his hands, still learning how to deal with the type of explosiveness that comes with NFL level opposition. He'll likely face a steep learning curve during his first year as a pro. In terms of his NFL comparisons, we compared to Wanya Moore to the Kansas City Chiefs. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game. Has the right measurements, but needs a little work on technique, which, hey, there's always room for improvement. I still think someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Georgia, standing 6'7", weighing 320 pounds, we got Xavier Truss. So for Xavier's strengths, played at both guard and tackle, a proficiency after earning immediate playing time. Great strength profile, takes a mowing approach to run blocking. Very active hands, fast to create counters for technical rushers. Sets a strong anchor, not moved from spot by strength. Takes more than a bull rush to take him down. Big time play finisher, works at a whistle, able to and willing to pick up more defenders after his first assignment. In terms of his weaknesses, though, being a 6'7" tweener, generally hard to recover from as a draft prospect. Even if he has the advantage of coming from a blue blood, arm length could estimate have ranged from around 32-33 inches, which could turn off some coaches that value quality length. He plays with high pad level, has regressed a bit in that regard. He doesn't move very well, works better in a phone booth, mostly due to lack of agility. Not in great control of his giant body, occasionally loses track of his feet. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's compared to Cordell Folson of the Cincinnati Bengals. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Xavier's game. Great height, and he has some versatility with guards, so maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Kansas, standing 6'6", weighing 315 pounds, we got Logan Brown. So for Logan's strengths, good athletic traits, fluid mover in space, able to shift laterally quickly to line up against agile defenders. He meets all the height, length, and length standards for the job. Big hands, arms, good at keeping the edge rushers still. Stays in the play, can lead the other offensive linemen to find delayed rushers. Stout lower half, strong balance keeps him in a spot, allows for predictable running lanes. He keeps his effort up throughout the rep, is a strong finisher. Turns to weaknesses though, needs to use his hands more after the initial contact. He spends too much time waiting to be aligned, results in some low lights where he just stands around as his quarterback gets flushed out of the pocket. Instead of pushing back, has tendencies to shift his upper body weight left or right, messes up his leverage. Lacks recovery skills to reset. He must rev up a bit to really use his strength. In terms of his NFL comparisons, compared to Josh Jones of the Baltimore Ravens, overall, a lot of things to like out of Logan's game. Has some really good athletic traits. Someone to keep an eye on. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Miami, standing 6'5", weighing 325 pounds. We got Jalen Rivers. So for Jalen's strengths, has some potential guard and tackle flexibility based on his size and experience. Carries some of those strong running carry traits into his tackle play. Power manifests in the leg drive and the pop of his hands. Consistent beating guys on initial contact must be worked against with a pass rush bag or high quality athleticism to be challenged. Arm length sits in the 34s, used well with a handle similar sized defenders. In terms of his weaknesses though, underwhelming athlete, very limited explosion off the line. Doesn't get into a decent stance, ends up playing with bad posture. Hands often come out too high. Stiff mover, both in the straight line, laterally resulting in speed rushers really giving him the business. He's secures his Fadil Diggs really got to him in their matchup. You will watch some tape there. He has been injured a lot throughout his career. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's been compared to Thayer Munford of the Las Vegas Raiders. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game, but he struggled against some competition, and he's had his injury history. I think there's better prospects he can go with, so I'll say pass. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Rutgers, standing 6'8", weighing 350 pounds. We got Holland Pierce. So for Holland's strengths, hard person to get past in terms of sheer size and length. Very few tackles match his brick wall nature. Carries a lot of weight in his chest, difficult to move when he's anchored. There's a lot of power in his game. Massive hands can throw a defensive lineman off balance, limit pressures on blitzes. Rises to the level of his competition. Didn't allow a sack against Illinois' strong edge group if you want to watch some tape there. In terms of weaknesses though, can't move very well, carries a lot of weight behind him, makes his footwork segmented and ugly. Doesn't flip his hips to adjust the rushers, so if they aren't immediately caught in his web, pressure can get to the QB. When his QB scrambles, his struggles to assist in picking up defenders are moving to the second level. Probably a better fit with a pocket passer. Not super creative as a blocker, kind of just shoves his arms out and hopes for the best. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Caleb Jones of the New England Patriots. Overall, a lot of things like out of Holland's game, but, just a few things he struggles with, and it seems like he only does well when he has a pocket passer as a QB. So, someone to keep an eye on for sure. So, the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Florida, standing 6'7", weighing 322 pounds. We got Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. So, in terms of Brandon's strengths, imposing figure to line up against mirrors well, able to react quickly to different pass rush techniques. Seems to have an understanding of counters for both brute strength on all the moves. Guards his chest well, rarely gets pushed around to the middle. Experience on both sides of the O-line will be appealing to different teams, boasting a strap forward. Carries good bulk, has a muscled out frame. In terms of weaknesses though, his grip strength's middling. Hands seem to slip off opposing defenders. Inconsistent finisher, could honestly put a little bit more effort into each of his reps. He might be a limited movement issue as he's not the strongest athlete, especially in terms of recovery. When he's best, he's out of the play completely. When he's beat, he's out of play completely, my bad. Should set his anchor down to utilize his power profile. His balance is a bit shaky, can spread his base out too far, loses leverage and pass protection. In terms of NFL comparisons, we compared to Chukwuma Oruffer of the New England Patriots. That whole name's a fucking tongue twister. But overall for Brandon, does a lot of things right, but needs to polish a few things up on technique and being able to finish his play blocks. So I think still someone to keep an eye on. It could be a good depth piece. And the final tackle we're going to go over here before we move on to guards. We have hailing out of Cincinnati, standing 6'4", weighing 320 pounds. We got John Williams. So for John's strength, strong, trunky frame, great length, solid athlete, displays good agility, speed. Heavy hands, effective anchor. Has some Mullen tendencies in the run game. He's able to plug in as either a guard or tackle, which will be intriguing to teams who value backup versatility. In terms of weaknesses, though, stiff hips, heavy feet in his kick slot, hand placements wide, often just restless defenders after the snap. Has some tweener elements to his game, doesn't have a clear-cut position by NFL standards. He could do a better job sustaining blocks, leans a lot, overall has poor balance. In terms of NFL comparison, he's compared to free agent tackle Derwin Gray. Overall, a lot of things to like out of John's game. A few things to clean up, but, the versatility to potentially be at guard might be someone to keep an eye on for sure. Now moving on to guards. The first one we're going to go over here, hailing out of LSU, standing 6'5", weighing 318 pounds. You got Miles Frazier. So for Miles' strengths, good core strength allows him to stay balanced, fight back against power without any issues. People mover that can knock defensive tackles back when he gets off the ball well. Plays hard despite being a big guy. Won't coast through reps. Smooth combo blocker for his weight. Can climb to the linebackers with consistency. Smart processor. Won't get blindsided by stunts or blitzers. In terms of his weaknesses, though, guard-only profile. Going to worry some teams if he doesn't project as a starter for them. Subpar athlete overall will have trouble when he must play in space or deal with top-end bursts from pass rushers. Lacks recovery ability if he gets out of position. Doesn't have the length to offset. Jack of all trades, doesn't have any standout traits that would elevate him against the run or pass. In terms of his pro comparison, he's compared to Justin Schaffer of the San Antonio Brahmas in the UFL. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Miles' game, but could be just limited to guard. But, still, I think someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, also hailing out of LSU, standing 6'4", weighing 320 pounds. We got Garrett Dellinger. So for Garrett's strengths, physicality stood out in the SEC. He's shown no issues matching the play strength of the big boys. Has experience in both center and tackle to help teams trust him and provide value as a depth player. Sits down well in his pass sets, will be hard for most pass rushers to uproot. Strength, effort, or dare to be a finisher when his technique is working well. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he looked vastly more athletic on his junior tape. Seems to have lost a step with his movement skills in 2024. Added weight has hindered him at times when he works as a puller. Unreliable with hitting angles in the run game. He lacks the recovery ability once a defender gets to his hips. Has a hard time matching a quality speed rush. Hands are a hard time matching a quality speed rush. Hands are late to the target, prevents him from controlling targets. In terms of NFL comparisons, compared to Jamari Slayer of the Los Angeles Chargers. Overall, a lot of things to like out of this game, but a few things to clean up a technique, but has some versatility to possibly go to center and work anywhere in the interior. So, I think someone definitely to keep an eye on for sure. So, the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Wisconsin, standing 6'5", weighing 305 pounds, we got Joe Huber. So, for Joe's strengths, wrestling background translates to great upper body strength, especially in his hips. Really latches on with his hands, difficult to disengage from thanks to a combination of solid technique and placement along with good old-fashioned muscle. Leg thrust very good, puts his entire body weight in every rep while he still maintains consistent balance. Has natural leverage to his game, able to get under players without bending at the waist, which helps him drive his block play. In terms of weaknesses, though, middling athlete, doesn't feel like a natural mover in space, lacks pulling capabilities, shouldn't be used consistently in that selection of the game. Plots around the field, limited agility to keep up with his athletic defensive ends. Near the guard position, lacks some awareness in run blocking. He could use some time to develop better instincts at the position, better understanding of how to handle stunts, no agility in his game. In terms of his NFL comparison, compared to Logan Bruss of the Chicago Bears. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Joe's game. Has some great upper body strength and does some things right. I think someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Minnesota, standing 6'5", weighing 307 pounds, we got Tyler Cooper. So for Tyler's strength, surprisingly powerful for his size, can blast small defensive tackles off their spot as a down blocker. Prototypical guard body type, appeal to a lot of scouts when stacking the position. Adequate mover, can get to the second level, get the job done against linebackers. He showcased NFL level body control technique in the matchup against Iowa's talented defensive line this year. If you want to watch some tape there. His ceiling is intriguing. He could still stand to get stronger and more precise with his technique. In terms of weaknesses, though, he can be a tick late to identify stunts and get his body around in the position. Balance lapses happen on occasion. He's more of a get-in-the-way type of blocker than someone that will just wow with his technical prowess. He lacks standout traits to elevate him above the rest of the day 3 guards. His hands aren't aggressive once he gets on target. In terms of NFL comparisons, we compared to Carson Barnhart of the Los Angeles Chargers. Overall, White seems to like out Tyler's game. Very powerful, can knock tackles off the spot. I think someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Kansas, standing 6'6", weighing 315 pounds. We got Bryce Cabodu. So for Bryce's strengths, well-built prospect, good frame for the interior. Plays with a low pad level for a taller lineman. Flashes good quickness, agility at times, very strong with a sturdy anchor, heavy hands, enthusiastic bowler in the run game, blocks with effort, moves defenders. In terms of weaknesses, though, raw hand technique in terms of placement and quickness. Hips are very stiff when he gets in his pass sets, lacks coordination, wobbles when blocking on the move, struggles to develop much from his junior year to his senior year. In terms of NFL comparisons, we compared to Satoa Lamela of the Seattle Seahawks. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Bryce's game. He's well built, has plays with a good pad level, and has some good quickness. So someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of North Carolina State, standing 6'4", weighing 312 pounds. We got Timothy McKay. So for Timothy, he's your prototype pulling and trapping guard because he's able to effectively move block at the college level, square off guys with decent power and athleticism. Doesn't have a ton of skill in his bag, but trapping and pulling are his best skills. In terms of strengths, has good athleticism, decent explosive agility and speed. High effort player, tries his best to sustain blocks, finish plays. Has played all across the line throughout his college career. Extensive experience on special teams. In terms of weaknesses, though, very poor power profile. Shows up in pass protection and run blocking. Simply not strong enough to be a reliable pass protector. Plays high for a shorter lineman. Loses the leverage balcons constantly. Doesn't sustain blocks well. Lacks a mean streak in the run game. And he did have a season-ending injury in 2020. In terms of NFL comparisons, he's compared to John Gaines of the Arizona Cardinals. But that injury, though, hasn't really affected him too much, though, in the last 4 or 5 years. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game. Does some things well. Good athleticism. Can pull and trap well. And that's it. And can play anywhere on the O-line. So I think someone definitely keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Cincinnati, standing 6'4", weighing 315 pounds. We got Luke Kandra. So for Luke, he's your prototype downfield guard because he's an EVC mover, good accelerator, impressive athletic traits. In terms of strengths, has some flashy lateral movement. He's able to flip his hips around, swiftly set his feet in a new spot to re-anchor, can set his body up for controlled momentum. Identifies how pressures are going to occur, can track up guys going for his outside shoulder, protect him accordingly. Should do well in the cone drills at the combine, boasts his stock. In terms of weaknesses, though, hands are generally shoddy, if not paired with a move block or a pull block. They don't generate much shock on their own. Footwork immediately out of the stance is a non-starter. Could lead to some bad issues from players with powerful hands. He gets crossed up and may have some issues making pull maneuvers. Too often he finds himself in recovery mode. Not athletic enough to be asked to switch zones quickly. In terms of NFL comparisons, compared to now retired guard Keith Williams. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Luke's game. Does a lot of things right. Has some good agility. And has some good lateral movement. I think someone definitely keep an eye on for sure. And the final guard we're going to go over here before we move on to centers. We have hailing out of Texas, standing 6'6", weighing 327 pounds. We got Hayden Connor. So for Hayden's strengths, he's able to brute strength his way to wins against NFL caliber competition. Size, length, outstanding for a guard, could turn him into an effective mauler in power-heavy run schemes. He's able to generate momentum, move bodies back once his feet get moving in the run game. Sufficient athlete for a big lineman when he gets in space. In terms of weaknesses, though, leverage disadvantage, lack of lower body flexibility. It'll make some teams feel uncomfortable with him at guard. Tweener prospect lacks the typical athleticism needed to play outside. Plays with low, slow hands, late to come up and arrive on target. Feet drag behind his hands. He's unable to keep pace with twitched-up opponents. Limited agility will put him in bad spots without a good tackle and center beside him to cover up his lapses. In terms of NFL comparison, he's compared to now retired guard Jared Hawker. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game. You know, a few things to clean up, though, but I think someone to keep an eye on for sure. Now moving on to centers. The first one we're going to go over here. Hailing out Texas Tech, standing 6'4", weighing 310 pounds. We got Caleb Rogers. So for Caleb, he's your prototype run-blocking center. So it's very good in the run game because he's a 5-year starter. Primary right tackle, but it's impressive athleticism, good upper body strength. It helps him clear up wide gaps in the run game. In terms of strength, next level athleticism for the guard spot. Has the athletic potential to flex on the tackle if his arm length measurements are kind to him. Has potentially 5-spot versatility if he's interested in learning how to play center. Glides to the second level, can handle shifting laterally to keep a clean pocket. When defensive backs head downhill front of blitz. Footwork's highly proficient, quick. Keeps good bounce at bottom half, constantly churning. Hits a long arm well, can keep his opponents at a safe distance. In terms of his weaknesses, though, needs better timing in all aspects. Always seems to tick behind the snap. Not quite in the stance when the ball comes back. Maybe this will be fixed if he shifts to center when he's in control. But it's something to watch out for. He doesn't have direct center experience outside of being rumored to start there before 2024. So he would be a raw starter in that aspect. Needs to learn the intricacies of that position. Missing the shock strength to really create running lanes. Still missing some technical intricacies involving the slide and punch method. In terms of NFL comparisons, we compared to now retired center Joe Looney. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Caleb's game. Very, very good in the run game, but, going to need a lot of things to clean up on and learn from and be extremely raw if he goes to center. But that's the versatility going either guard or tackle. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Ohio State, standing 6'4", weighing 300 pounds. We got Seth McLaughlin. So for Seth, he's your prototype pass blocking guard, so very good center and so very good in the pass game. Because he isn't always a pure snapper of football, but he's always been good about protecting his QB. Heavy hands, quick feet helped keep Buckeyes QB Will Howard upright last year. In terms of strength, good athlete, agility, explosiveness, speed. Very quick feet when he's mirroring. Mauler in the run game, blocks with nastiness. High motor player, plays until the whistle with physicality. Intelligent player, can handle the mental side of the position. Very good pad level, lets him win the leverage battle consistently. Technique has greatly improved since last year. Snaps are a lot more accurate, great on combo blocks and double teams. In terms of weaknesses, though, he needs improved strength in his anchor, upper body. Short arms that can lead to him lunging to engage blocks. Needs improved hand placement quickness. He also ruptured his Achilles this year, raises concerns about his long-term durability and athleticism. In terms of NFL comparison, he's been compared to Connor McGovern of the New York Jets. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Seth's game, but, he may not be available immediately after that Achilles injury he had. So, it would definitely be a gamble taking him for sure. So, the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Kentucky, standing 6'4", weighing 309 pounds, we got Eli Cox. So, for Eli's strengths, good athlete, explosive off the snap, solid hand technique in terms of quickness and placement, flashes quick feet and pass protection, good mirroring reps when he looks for work. High motor player, does a good job sustaining blocks, finishing plays. Clean injury history, no major setbacks. In terms of weaknesses, though, he lacks the play strength in his upper and lower body. Doesn't anchor well in pass protection, struggles one-on-one. Likely a center-only prospect at the NFL level. Doesn't move players well in the run game despite having prototypical size for the position. In terms of NFL comparisons, been compared to Danny Pinter of the Indianapolis Colts. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Eli's game. Great athlete, very explosive, has great technique, and a high motor player that will always play hard. A couple things to clear up, but somebody to keep an eye on for sure. And the final center, the final offensive lineman, the final player we're going to go over in this video, we have hailing out of Purdue, standing 6'5", weighing 305 pounds. We got Gus Hardwig. So for Gus, he's your prototype intangible center, because he was at Purdue forever. Well, 5 years, so maybe technically not forever, but in college terms, that's pretty long. He knows how to read a defense. He became a captain as a leader in the community, so he's a locker room leader of men. In terms of strength, has the size and length you would hope to see from a center. Topping the 300-pound threshold, arms in the 33-34 inch range. Proficient run blocking, good driving strength, ability to move guys around the second level. Generates power with his hands, aware of how momentum can impact the block. Able to guard his chest, can limit potential pushback from his weak points. Heads up player, clean snap that lands at an easy transition point for the QB. In terms of weaknesses though, non-existent foot speed, doesn't keep his legs in sync with his hands, results in lurching that can ruin an entire block. Pass blocking has bad habits, he can lose that sight of defender he working against trying to scan the field. Leaving him prone to surprise bull rushes. Doesn't really have the athletics juice to handle top end talent. He got feasted on by the likes of Derek Harmon and Ty Hamilton, 2 NFL level guys. If you want to watch some tape there, which that's a bad sign for his fit at the next level. Hands need to do more pushing, less gripping. Goes for the shoulder pads when you want to see him in the hit the chest. In terms of NFL comparisons, compared to now retired center Lucas Nix. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game, but a lot of things that need to be cleaned up. But a locker room leader, and you know, that's going to be very big. So definitely fits the Lions culture. So I think the Lions, someone the Lions will definitely be keeping an eye on. And that'll wrap it up for this Detroit Lions 2025 NFL Draft Preview. Now wraps up for all the O-lineman draft previews and all the offensive draft previews for 2025. As the remaining draft previews after this will all be on defense. So overall, there are quite a number of prospects to keep an eye on. A lot of interesting names to keep an eye on because maybe some guys that could be starters in the future. Definitely a lot of talent in day 3 of the draft. And you know, Brad Holmes has been money in day 3 of the draft. I mean, day 3 of the draft, he got Christian Mahogany in this day. He also got guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Derek Barnes in day 3 of the draft as well. So Brad Holmes knows how to cash in the lottery tickets in day 3. Because day 3 of the draft is effectively like cashing in the lottery tickets. And Brad Holmes always can hit the lottery there. But anyway, that'll wrap it up for this draft preview. So the next draft preview, we'll be heading to the other side of the trenches and wrapping up the defensive lineman portion of the draft previews. And that'll be for next time. But anyway, that'll wrap it up here. That's all I'm going to say, and I'll see you all over whenever I make next. I'm out.